team, what's going on? I wanted to make a quick video about the market condition again because we are starting to notice that market starting to turn bullish. Many tickers are starting to pop, making 100%, 80%, 70% runs, and especially multi-day runs because they're running multi-days one day, probably consolidate the next day to run the same day or to run the second, third day. So, what's going to be our main interest here? And then we're going to pretty much focus, like I said, in the market condition of what's happening now. Many are resetting weekly. What I mean resetting weekly is we've been consolidating for about 2 weeks, and now many of them are starting to pop in momentum. So let's go back an example of what I mean by momentum weekly. See this weekly momentum? We're finding uptrend now. Many going to keep doing like you see. It's going to go uptrend, zigzagging the way up. Other ones are going to be in the full uptrend, no zigzag. And that's going to be explained today in a short term for our next video. But just know that it's going to be a quick video just to explain the condition of what's happening now. So this is CNGL, and you're going to notice BTCM. This one's about to reset. So look, it's sitting at a nice support. We're talking about an 11 run up to 12 run once that weekly resets. This is just another example that many are still under the reset but about to change. Others already reset it, and others pretty much getting there. And then even others already running even past the 0.50 in the FETSO in the weekly. So so what I'm trying to explain that and what I mean by that is that we're going to start seeing many pushes in the coming months and until the holidays, because many tickers are starting to turn around in their momentum. And then I will explain what I mean by that momentum, right? So let's change the percent. This is a collection that I have, which is all stocks, any tickers that I deal with throughout the day. If I see a run and then it doesn't, I add it into my collection. If I see a run and then fade throughout the day or whatever, and I'm just watching it and I'm not interested on it anymore, I go and I add it into my collection. I do not get rid of it until Webull tells me, hey, you already got 1,000 stocks or 1,000 tickers. You have to remove some. That's whenever I start removing tickers. I just randomly remove again, and then you just start adding again. It doesn't matter who I take out or anything. So that is kind of where all stocks come in. That is just all my collection inside this account. So what we're going to pretty much explain is it's what the market is doing. You're going to notice here, resetting. This is the same pattern that you're going to see in many, but not in RSI. RSI, some will have the oversold, but they won't have a full oversold. Like this one's, it's kind of still indicating that it can still come down to an oversold. But with the FETSO, you're going to have the same pattern of FETSO as a reset. And this is just one that's barely starting to push. You can see another one here. New IPO, but it has a reset of weekly. You see this one? It's still K hustling D, but eventually what's going to happen is going to, this is a nice pop that every single week is doing top wicks. So you can end up getting a 315, 320 top wick this coming week. This coming week while it's sitting at 3. So you can eventually get a nice 15 cents pop this coming week since it's doing it repeatedly until weekly resets, and it does a huge candle like this. And that could happen because it's sitting on the reset. Now let's go into our next one. Like I said, this is the same pattern that you're going to see in many tickers. This one's still resetting. And what I'm going through right now is that these tickers have potential to keep pushing up because the reset is just happening. And what I mean by reset is, let me bring something up here so I can show you what I mean by that. The momentum, okay? The FETSO, that's what I mean by reset. You're going to notice many already starting to go up again, DNN. You see what happens when it starts resetting? You start going into uptrend. Let's go into the next one. This one's just starting to uptrend, but look what the price is doing. Let's zoom in here. It's starting to uptrend with the FETSO. And one more, resetting. Like I said, this is the same. This is why we're getting all these bullish tickers. This is why we're getting these pushes. This is why many are starting to run in reverse. It's because of this daily reset. Some are behind, others are ahead, other ones are in between, and meaning that the ones running should be running ahead. And I don't know where, when, like say August comes, you already have these runnings, they're consolidating. You're gonna have these other tickers that they come from back and consolidating, and they start running while others are consolidating. So it's keeping the market, in a pushing pattern that eventually you're still gonna have day by day a runner that's running at a weekly reset or weekly momentum and stuff like that. So a reset in momentum, what I mean is how K and D behave when it goes up. Price, some of them based on float. This one has an all right candles, but look at the runs here it done. It's gone from 162 to 10. So float should be low, and float is 16 million, which is actually pretty low as well. Based on the volume, it picks up 100 million volume. The float is already really low to that. So it's just, like I said, this volume we're right here. Let's see how much volume there was here. Dun, dun, dun. The volume was, you see, 475 million to a 16 mil float. No wonder this thing came from the 133 running $10 back in the days, right when it ran. So now you can see we're sitting on weekly. When did it start flushing down? It started flushing down. See, after the second month on March, that's when all the tickers started flushing, and it started following a downtrend. Now it's uptrending. It can eventually do high prices in an upturn because of the float. Float, it's right here, 60 million float, and volume, it's right here. Based on the candle, for what the float was, this candle did 475 million volume trading transactions for that day. So this is just, like I said, an example of what I mean. Exactly, resetting. Everything is going to be the same pattern of what I mean by that. Now, you're going to have tickers that have an uptrend of momentum, for example, that run week by week higher highs like this one. You see how strong this momentum is into uptrend? That is cool indication that it can run higher highs week by week. Even by then, there has a high chance that it can run 550 when bullish, the bullish market comes in, and based on the weekly's momentum is bullish. And if we go deep and investigate a little bit more, we can notice that even the monthlies, it's bullish for the month of what? Of June, meaning that this thing can run the whole June into a higher high of 556 just on June alone. And that's just, an example. So now let's bring up how we can, search low floaters and search low floaters, and also what I mean by momentum. By momentum here, we're gonna kind of indicate you how momentum moves and how it should be when it's going up. So let's pretty much let's start off. Okay, we do white, we do black, and okay. So now let's start off with how momentum is. First of all, depending on the time frame, I'm gonna explain right here what I mean by daily, how weekly should be pushing up. So like I said, you got two types of momentum here. This is just weekly, right? You got let me paint that. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me paint this up a little bit better in black. Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna see momentum. We're gonna put the black, and we're gonna put two lines, right? Because this is gonna be the top, and this is gonna be the support and the resistance of the Fed. So what I mean, what's been happening between March into June, this is going to be D. We're gonna color D in different color. We're gonna put it like how we have it over there, which is blue. Was it blue? Yep, blue is D. So let's do blue and blue. Remember, when D doesn't really zigzag. That's another thing that I want you to explain is what zigzag is. K. Why K zigzag? K's price. If K pushes up, price pushes up. K goes down, price goes down. To who? To D. Support K uses D as support to have a potential bounce, and then K uses D as resistance to go, an uptrend. So what I mean, whenever we were December into February, this is weekly time frame, right? And this is D. This is just D. And then it goes up, and then it goes down. Okay. So now we're going to pretty much put it down here. Let's put down one color. Now let's put our K. So K is going to pay the way zigzag. So what I mean is K. So if you have a bullish week, you can even have a bullish up to 2 weeks. It's when K does this. K goes up, you have a bullish of 2 weeks. By the end of that week or the next 2 weeks, you're gonna have bearish end of week or probably a bearish full week when the week comes. If you see a zigzag like this, the way these moving, right? You're going to notice that this is gonna be a week or two, and then this is gonna be a consolidating here, and then it goes up. So this right here it could end up being up to 2 weeks of consolidating. And sometimes what I mean by consolidating higher low is if this price here, now let's change this to black. If this price here, it was sitting at 62 cents, right? At 62 cents. And when it pushes up or there, the price pushes here all the way to 90 cents. It means that it shouldn't come down lower than 62 because now D is support. So what I mean is 62 cents is going to be the new higher low risk. Whenever price goes here to this one and it runs, let's say, 80 cents. Price, when it goes down to this, it should be, let's say, 72, and price being here as a higher low is 60. So what I'm trying to kind of explain to you guys is, sorry about the things, I'm using the mouse to make the little numbers, and so yeah, it's gonna look like a little cartoon things, but okay. So Momentum goes up, right, to 80 cents, and it goes down to 72 cents. The higher low is 60 cents. You won't know that your higher low until when? Until weekly goes up and then it goes down. So let's do another one. Oh, it come out the same one, so I guess that won't work. This is just how weekly behaves. So 2 weeks down and it goes down, and it should hold at least over 60. But if it holds 72, that is fine. So when it goes to 80 and price comes down to 72, this is when price should be pushing back up. So price should be pretty much bouncing, meaning that if you run 80 cents, the higher low now is 72. If price bounces up again, this area here, it takes about another week, and then your second week or that same week, that's whenever you start running a higher high. K needs to pretty much run this point of higher high to run a higher high, because remember, it follows price. So what K does is when K pushes and bounces up, then it goes up like this. Sometimes it can even push up all the way up and then come back down like this, and then zigzag a little bit here, and I start doing this until it has a little intention to go break down, and then start flipping. You get what I'm saying? Size. So that's just pretty much what I'm kind of trying to get. So now, if we go up, price here now runs $1, right, at this point, and then he wants to do this. So now this point right here becomes $1 run. And the higher low now, which is, remember the previous thing, which is if this was 72 and D is all the way here now, and he's running 80, that means that support should be at least where? At above 80. I said, higher low, but the previous high. So above the higher low, but the previous high, which is, it makes sense how it should be climbing up. And then price eventually starts pushing up based on the D. So what I'm saying is price eventually, it starts going up. Oh, wrong color. I think I'm getting the wrong color here. Let me give me 1 second. Why is not giving me the color? Okay. Okay, so now K is gonna start bouncing up again. And when K goes up above this point, because sometimes this K can even come to this and then take a bit to push up this point. So if we go up, when K pushes up again and it starts doing this little, bounces off here, this could be in the last squeeze because that's the last area of the top of the weekly is when eventually it starts making the last bit of squeeze before it changes sides. So at the end of here, this run in this area, can be in a run when it comes run support, right? It can be in a run of 2, or it can even be in a run of 152. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you're watching, how momentum is behaving, where price is taking. Now, let's go back and keep going into the momentum here. Whenever you start seeing this point of view, which is K crosses D, that's whenever price should be coming to what? It should be coming back to $1 and goes back up and uses D as resistance. Now, let's point the big important factor here is that this point here now becomes the lower low, which is $1. And when it goes back up, this is going to be what? Let's say 130, 120. If it ran $2, it could be 150 as at lower high. And then it goes back down, right? Following price. Remember, K follows price. So when it goes down here, this K coming into down should be making what? A lower low of $1. So now it starts, making that opposite climb to the downside. So now we're pretty much zigzagging. Sometimes it could be a different zigzag. Momentum, that's how it is. You have zigzag. Sometimes he just follows with it and then he just completely falls. Or sometimes even just starts from here and then just starts, following with it and it falls. When you have this little downtrend with the D, that it means that you're not going to get it down and up day. You're going to eventually get it down day. You're not getting zigzag. So now the support in this area is going to be 18 and 16 and 70 and so on. It's just dropping price back down. So now we're going to pretty much what happens now after all this and running back again, pretty much give me a new one. Where's that? Okay. Import. Let's see. Okay, so now you're not giving just me a new one at all. Who's giving me a new one? All right, let's create. Thank you. Okay. Let's put the page white because we want it white. Okay. So now, after coming, okay, so it's not going to give us the. Okay. So after going, making prices change and all that, you're going to pretty much come into this. So now, like I will explain it again, you're going to have blue, right? Oh, that's a pen. Let's do the brush first. Brush is better. After you have the D and you have momentum here doing this. Once it crosses and it goes back down, you get what I'm saying? Where does it come up? It comes up to, forward. It comes out to day coming into here, right? And then when it crosses up, and then it goes up like this. And then it will start repeating that same climb based on, on momentum. Now, something I want to go over here. It's how momentum should be behaving based on weekly and daily. If weekly goes up like this, let me make this smaller so I can kind of explain to you how this should be behave, okay? We're going to make weekly here. We're going to make weekly. Oops, too small. Let's make weekly. And then we're going to make daily, right? Weekly and daily. I think there's, let's see. Yeah, kind of right. Okay. Let's close down a little more on the daily. Okay, perfect. So we're going to make the support. Oh, let me go back and put this one black so I can kind of, make sure that we coloring the things right. We're going to have the support and we're going to have the resistance. We're going to have the support. This is weekly and this is daily. Okay. So now this is something, like I said, I want to go over and explain to you how weekly and daily behave. Now, pretty much let's go over how weekly and daily behave. This is weekly. If weekly goes up like this, just this, it hasn't run heat yet. That means that daily, it did all this. By the time weekly goes back down and goes back to D, that is when daily is going to find the support. Now let's see. And now let's put back up. And we're going to put that back up. Well, weekly doesn't even need the backup. It's just daily. So now, when weekly goes back up, daily, what does it daily do? It starts going, resets, and then it starts going back up. Meaning that it takes about one reset for weekly to come back down to K for weekly K to come into D. K coming into D. D is the blue, K is the orange. For K to go up off D after the reset, that is when daily runs heat. When K comes down into D or hold prices, that is when K comes into support, but also resets on daily. So what I'm saying is price could hold or price could pull back into a higher low. You won't know until it reacts based on the momentum. If momentum is here, price is still sitting at almost the same high that it ran, that is a strong, meaning that it can continue into next day. Price keep going up, that is pretty much saying that, it's going to reset and push a higher low because, higher lows, higher highs. And then when it goes down, it does this opposite way. And this is just how momentum should be, meaning that daily will push up and then reset, while K on weekly would just go up one time and then go back down and follow that thing through. So whenever K goes up to a higher high and it goes back down, guess what daily is going to do? This is daily running again to come back down, and that is K coming down into D and repeating the same cycle. Sometimes you will get different patterns. What I mean by different patterns is, if you pretty much get this, I'm sorry, that was a weird color. If you get this on K, that it means that daily is going to pretty much run the same. Daily is going to run heat while weekly runs heat. So when daily finds that reset, that is when K could end up coming back all the way to D or eventually crossing over. If it crosses over, when it goes back up, oh, that was too large. When it crosses over and it goes back up, that is whenever D will reset and then go back up. But if it goes back up, then what K does is find heat as resistance on weekly to start, downtrend again and failing. But if reset comes here and weekly stays here, what the reset happened, on the daily here, and then the weekly comes all the way to the D, and they're sitting at the right pattern, that the daily's sitting on the reset and K is sitting on D on weekly. That is showing that the proof that potentially K on daily can end up pushing weekly back up. But like I said, that just depends how after the momentums have corrected. You can't really predict here, other than is going to downtrend, right? That's the only prediction, that is going to downtrend because daily's downtrending. But you won't know exactly where it holds until you get there. So that is pretty much what I'm trying to explain here is. So now that is, how daily and weekly behave. And that is what I kind of wanted to go over with this whole picture thing. So now let's go how we should be able to find low floats. Know that low floaters means that less shares for the public to be able to trade. I like using Finbase. This is something that we provide free to you guys, which you do need a membership, paying monthly payment or something like that to be able to have this. So what I do is screener, easy. I like going to my on the float under 5 million volume. Let's see the average volume. We can do let's do 500 to 10 million, so we can know that the volume is picking up. And then pretty much that is it. We can even control price. Let's say price under 10, because there is some low floaters based on reverse splits that are under 10 and then or close to 10 that should be pushing. And then I like doing the charts. After the chart, you have beautiful charting. And you're going to notice here that you even get the AMC, the RSI, and you also get the FEDSO. Not the one that we get, but eventually, so what they pretty much provide and give you. And this you'll be able to tell that you have pretty much a lot of low floaters. And based on potential and uptrend, I like this one, which is Jan. You can notice that it's barely starting to uptrend. Look at the AMCD, look at the RSI, and look at the FEDSO uptrending. Beautiful ticker to start running a higher high of what? We can end up running a higher high of $11. It's sitting at $8.93 right now. So what I'm saying, this is just basic knowledge of what you can find. LGVN. This is another one you're going to notice that. Let's see with the float. Where's the float here? I haven't really used this much, but I do use the Weeble. But this is for people that are willing to so it does help when it comes to finding this float options and all this and charting. You don't get it on Weeble. So if you want to get down deep, like in finding momentums and flow floaters, or just basic breaking it down on what you're really looking for, that is pretty much what you pretty much will want to find. And then you can even do like candles. This is starting an uptrend, beautiful ticker, which should be pushing up. And let's go back up here. Let's see if we can find some more. Anyone that's starting an uptrend, you see this uptrending, that's just starting, that should be what you'll be searching for, is small little uptrends that are starting to pop up. There's another one. You can see that it has intentions for higher highs. And there's a higher high intention here of 323, sitting at 305. So based on this momentum and this FEDSO here, it should be pushing the higher high into coming days. And this is just, like one. Pretty much all we can find. But if we go back on the 10 million float, we'll be able to find some more. This one, that's the same one. Hey, that one caught my attention twice. We got LMA FA starting to build up. And this one's already popped pretty nicely. Let's see if we have anyone that's building up pretty nicely yet that hasn't done insane pops yet. You want someone that hasn't done insane pops yet. So you want to make sure you eventually catch one of those pops. This is one that's starting to build up. Looks a little sketchy. That daily momentum, you can see it's starting to downtrend. This is what I explained. This is a smooth momentum. It doesn't zigzag as good as the festo that we have. Who's this? This was starting to fill a gap, but candles look too weak. Not digging that. Let me see if we can go to our next one and find another better one here somewhere. Oh, I like this one. This was starting to build up. That's the one with the RS split that we were already sitting on. And that's starting to look at this uptrend. You see this uptrend. This is two kind of mimicking each other, but it's starting to uptrend slowly. That it should be continuing to uptrend. Also, this one, PCX, is starting to uptrend slowly. And this should be all floats under 10 million. And that's pretty much it. But like I said, you can break it down into anything sectors. You can bring it down to countries, current volume, what he has now, and then price. earning dates like today, or not today. There shouldn't be nothing today, but next week. You want to see whose earnings are next week? You can kind of close it down here, and you can see who earnings are going to be next week. And where's the one that one? Sector flow industry current volume. This is the 1 million. This one's nice, uptrending, uptrending. This one should be pulling back. So I want to show you a little bit of Finbits, how it helps find low floaters, but it does kind of get down in other tickers. You could break it down real much better than Webull, but that's just whoever wants to use it. But just know that we do provide it free for you guys, and you should take advantage of this. But other than that, guys, remember, with momentum, the way that we're moving up, we're barely starting to move up. You won't see major moves yet until we're past at least the 50 of the FETSO, 50.0, right? On the FETSO lines numbers. Whenever you start pushing up, that's where price should be, pushing price up into higher highs, new all-time highs probably, and just pushing the price up. But that's just how momentum behaves, and how we're seeing that pattern that many are resetting, many is about to reset. And if you notice that those ones that are about to reset, there also has a daily reset. So if you catch that daily reset, you're going to have a nice reaction when weekly also resets in those momentums. So anyone has any question, like I said, please leave a question in my thing, in my group, and I'll be able to help you and answer those. This is just going to be for the VIP trade chat videos, no one else. And so yeah, team, you have a good day and a good weekend. Peace.